You're never going to feel like your life is real until you slow down, until you start taking 2 hours a day away from screens, away from your phone, and to just think about whatever comes into your mind. This is how you build yourself. This is how you build your personality. This is how you build a version of reality that you believe to be true. You're not living in a dream feeling like, oh, I live in a dream and the problem is me. No, you are actually in a dream. You're not in some kind of delusion. You're in a dream because you are not giving anything the anchoring that it needs to feel real.
The only person who gives a shit about your life truly is you. And if you don't give a shit, then you're fucked. But point two, get angry. You're going to start giving a shit very soon. And after you get angry, you need to realize that nobody is going to give you the things you want. No politician is going to make you rich. No one else is going to come along and say, I'm going to concentrate my effort on fixing your life. Nobody. You have to understand you are out here alone, absolutely alone. And when you understand these things, you start to see how a mindset comes together. Nobody's going to save you. You're fucked. It's totally down to you. You're pissed off with your current situation and you want to change it. Plus, you believe you can do absolutely anything. This is how I thought at 18 years old. This is how I achieved so much in the short years. This is how I went from a nobody to a world level athlete and a multimillionaire.
Imagine your mind, your personality, the parameters from which you operate are a house which you have built based on your experiences you've had throughout your entire sentient life. You go through life, something happens, that's input, those are bricks, and you take those bricks and you add them to your house. You decide that if I go up to girls, they like me, or I go up to girls, they don't like me, or if I go up to girls, they don't like me because I look a certain way, I need to change the way I look, or because I don't have enough money, I need to make more money. You take these inputs, you take these bricks, and you add them to your house, and this house becomes who you are. It becomes your entire mentality. It becomes the lens from which you view the world. And now we live in a world where previously you would take a brick from an experience, you'd take another brick from another experience, you'd sit and you'd ponder, what does this brick do? Where did it come from? What shape is it? How do I add this brick to my house in the most effective way? Where should it go? How do I build the best possible house with this brick? We've moved on from that now to just endless acquisition of resource and bricks. You are constantly running out into the world, grabbing bricks, coming back to where your house is supposed to be and just throwing them on the floor. And then you're going back out and getting more bricks and coming back and just throwing them on the floor. You're not thinking about the experiences you're having. You're not thinking through in your mind past positive and negative situations to see if you actually made the right choice. You're not contemplating the future. You're not daydreaming. You're not sitting there and just imagining what could be. You're not doing anything. You're just constantly grabbing more and more bricks from the simulation itself.
Because at a very young age, when I had my prime resource of energy and power at 18, 19 years old, I understood those three tenets. I believe I can do anything. I'm pissed off I don't have the life I want, and nobody else is going to give it to me. These are three things you need to understand. If any one of these elements is missing, you'll never have the right mindset. The G mindset will never formulate if any one of these elements is missing. And the sooner you get your act together, the sooner you start to panic and worry and be concerned that you're 24 or 25, you're not fucking rich yet. There's 24 and 25-year-olds out there who got a contract for fucking NBA or their parents or they won the lottery or who knows what. There's 24 and 25-year-olds out there who are multimillionaires and it ain't you. And that needs to piss you off. You need to get concerned. You need to get worried. You need, shit, I'm running out of time. You need to get some urgency in your life.
The true experience of being human isn't just living experiences. The true experience of being human is not just what is lived, it is what is thought about. You think back to history, you think of these philosophers and these kings and these historians. You read Napoleon's memoirs. It's not just about the battle he was in. It was about how he saw the battle, how he felt during the battle, how he felt after the battle, what he believed he should have done different at Waterloo. Napoleon spent years thinking about the day he lost that battle. Years. He thought about every single little detail and he wrote it down. That is why he felt alive. And the reason you don't is because you haven't sat and thought about any of the experiences you've lived in the last year for more than 5 to 6 seconds. And everybody does it. A lot of it, I think, is a coping mechanism. I'm telling you all of this so you can feel like you're actually alive instead of just wasting entire days. Because that's what you're currently doing. You're going for a walk, then you're going to the gym, then you're starting your work, then you're messaging some girls, and then you go out with the girls, and you go for dinner, and the day ends, and you never really felt anything the entire way through. You need to take a little bit of time throughout the day. You need to take a little break where you sit there and go, okay, What's coming into my mind? Why do I feel the way I feel? A bunch of you feel anxious. I get messages and emails all the time about anxiety. You don't even know why. I'm anxious all the time, or I'm nervous all the time. I think I need money. I don't know, I'm stressed. You don't even know why, because you haven't sat and thought and analyzed it. The second you feel stressed, you get your phone out and you look for more information. And this is the biggest mistake you can make, because you may think you're stressed about money, but are you? So you just sit and think, what do you really care about? Do you care about that football team? Do you care about your job here? Do you care about this company, that company? Do you care about Republican, Democrat? Do you care about America? What do you care about? And ask yourself, if my team wins, if my passion pays off, does my life get better? Once you realize the answer is no, start caring about something else. Nobody is thinking. We are all trapped in the matrix, completely lost in our minds, in a haze of new information and endless dopamine, in a haze of chasing and not appreciating any of the things we have. Everybody is already plugged into the system. Neuralink is coming, and it's not going to be a hard sell. You're already plugged in. You're already staring at your screen all day. You already don't think about anything. You don't think about your past experiences. You don't recall from memory. You don't daydream. You don't imagine. Guys, I have to be honest with you.
Nobody, absolutely nobody, gives a fuck about you as much as you're going to have to give a fuck about yourself. Nobody cares about you as much as they need to care to fix your life. Even your parents, even your friends, even all the people who think they care about you, they care about you. Yeah, sure, there may be 2 or 3 people on the planet who genuinely care about you, but nobody is going to come to your bed, drag you out of bed, fucking drag you to a job, force you to work hard, go and get you a hot bitch and go and buy you a Ferrari. Nobody is going to do that for you. You are never going to have any of the things you want if you do not get them yourself. Nobody cares about you enough to do it for you. This is absolutely true.
Everybody is permanently staring at a screen. Everybody is living in anxiety of what's going to come in the future. Everybody believes that a day will come where their problems will go away, or they'll be rich, and then they'll be present, and then they'll be happy. But that's not the case. Unless you learn to sit and allow your brain to do what it wants to do, unless you learn to allow your brain to hit a neutral state and to process the information it has and to put it all in order and to put the Lego bricks together and to build your house, unless you do this, you're not even learning from the things that happen to you. Probably the only silver lining to the bad things that happen to you are the lessons. That's what they say, right? It's never a loss, it's always a lesson. So you're supposed to sit down and go, okay, I need to learn something from this bad thing that happened. But you're not learning anything. The bad thing's happening to you. You're getting your phone out to distract yourself. You're learning nothing, and you're continuing like a blundering idiot, stumbling through life with no new insights, no new knowledge. You're the same moron who made the first mistake, trying to distract himself, believing that if he gets enough bricks, enough new pieces of information, that he'll be okay. The point of life as a man is empire. You're alive to win, but you're also alive to feel alive. And we're living in a really interesting point in history where we are slowly becoming machines. There's no doubt in my mind in the next 100 years we will all be half machine. We'll all be cyborgs. And our minds are already prepared for this because we're already living in a false digital state. You're more concerned about messages you have on Telegram than you are about the trees outside your window. You're more concerned about girls you've never met with filtered pictures on Instagram than the girlfriend who you see every day. You're more concerned about possibly trying to make new memories than enjoying and truly processing the old memories that you've already experienced. You're so concerned with, I want to go Saint-Tropez this summer, I want to do this. Why don't you think about the nice things you've already done? Why don't you truly get the juice from the orange? Why don't you actually squeeze the juice from the experiences you previously had, as opposed to constantly chasing more and more and more and more, and then getting in a loop where you don't actually enjoy any of it? We need to break ourselves out of the dream. We need to break ourselves out of the illusion, because if I want to be an optimist, I think the internet is dying. I think AI and bots because it's hard to tell what's real and what's fake now, it's getting more and more diluted with absolute slop. The people who are going to win in the next decade are the people who are the most human. And to be the most human, you need to be able to think and feel things like a human does. And to do that, you need to dedicate a little bit of time. So I would like all of you for the next week to take 1 hour a day away from all your phones, away from any kind of input, not meditate don't have to sit in a dark room. Just put your phone away. Next time you're in a car, just go, you know what, for the rest of this journey, I'm not gonna touch my phone. I'm just gonna look out the window and see what you think of. You'll be amazed what pops into your mind. You might start to like it. You'll be amazed what observations you'll come to. You'll be amazed what lessons you'll learn. You You already have lessons in your head you haven't unlocked, you haven't decoded. And perhaps those lessons will help you in future in a similar scenario. Perhaps you'll become a better person. Perhaps you'll love your partner better than ever before. Perhaps you'll be smarter. Perhaps you'll be more interesting and more insightful. Perhaps you'll have more to say. Instead of trying to always do more, we should take an hour or so to sit and process and think.
When I talk about the matrix and escaping it, I'm talking about a way for you to earn money in ways they don't tell you. When's the last time you've sat with any of the matrix approved systems, any school, any TV program, any financial planner, and they told you exactly how to make money? They don't tell you that, because once you're rich, you're free. This is why they cannot have you earning money. This is why you must stay inside of your fucking box. This is the whole point of all of it.
And I think that staying human in this world is one of the largest and most difficult challenges. And I like to believe, because the moral arc of the universe bends towards justice, the people who manage to achieve this very difficult task are going to be somehow monumentally rewarded. Maybe financially, but certainly as soon as you start to enjoy your life more and enjoy your experiences on this planet more, you've already felt the reward. It's easy to take an hour away from your screen if you have lots of money. Totally understand that, because time is money. So when you spend time doing something, you are effectively spending money doing something. So for that reason, it's easy for you to sit and say, oh, Andrew, you have hundreds of millions of dollars, of course you can take time off. Well, no matter how much money you have, you feel like you need more. And I would argue that when you have hundreds of millions of dollars, you're more stressed about money than the person with $1 million or $1,000, because you have a whole bunch of moving parts and a large empire and you don't want to lose your lifestyle. So if I can do it, you can do it. But I know you would like to experience what it's like to have hundreds of millions of dollars. I know you would like to experience it at the other side. Totally understand. Don't blame you. Life's great if you're rich. I've never said life's any different. You should be trying your very best to be as rich as possible, and you just want to make sure you enjoy it. The machines, the algorithms, the matrix, it is designed to addict you. You are addicted to it. It is extracting from you. It is not paying you any money. You are giving it your life force. Every time you scroll Twitter, you are making them money. They're not paying you anything. If you use your phone, use it to make money, not to be extracted from. And then enjoy your own brain, enjoy your own mind.
Isn't the primary objective of living to feel alive? Surely if you measure the success of your life on your deathbed, it will be how many minutes you consciously felt alive compared to how many minutes you just wasted. You know when you drive home from work and you don't really remember the drive because you're daydreaming, but you manage to get home, you don't crash, you just sit there, you kind of daydream, and before you know it, you're at your house. That's how most people are living their lives. Each day blends into the next. Nothing really goes wrong. Nothing really goes right. You don't see anything fantastical on the drive. You don't crash the car. It's all just doop-de-doop-de-doo, and you make it home. A day becomes a week becomes a month becomes a year, and the years become your life. Your life. There are people out there who perhaps have less money than you. They may be ugly and short. They may be unsuccessful in nearly every metric, but if they're present all the time, on the deathbed, they will win the competition. Because on their deathbed, they will say, of my 80 years, I spent 40 years, 50% of time consciously feeling present and alive in the process, whereas you spent most of your time daydreaming, thinking about something that already happened, worried about something that might happen, concerned about the future, obsessed with the past. The primary objective of life is to feel alive. And you have to make yourself feel alive through monumental achievements. You need to go out there and buy a Bugatti. The first day you buy a Bugatti, you're going to feel alive. I can't believe I pulled this off. Can't believe I had $5.5 million liquid in my account, spare, sitting around to get a car. I feel alive. But then you'll drive it for a day, a week. You won't feel alive anymore. Hedonistic adaptation. That's what it's called. When you get used to the good things. I used to feel alive when I got on a private jet. Now, it's just flying. That's how I feel.
There is something so much better than having what you want, and that's not wanting anything. Because once you have what you want, you're going to want something else. And once you have what you want, you need to fight to maintain it.
God gives you some freebies, you see. A lot of that consciousness, a lot of that presence, you have to earn through your own monumental achievements. You have to go out there and take a risk and do something dangerous, or do something that you could have failed at with huge consequence, so that you feel awake in the moment. There is no reward without risk. The two are linked. But God occasionally gives you freebies. Sometimes you'll be walking down the road It'll be a sunny day, nice and warm, the breeze is in your face, you'll see a pretty daisy, a nice flower, and you'll stop for a second and go, you know what? Life's not so bad. I still got bills to pay. What a pretty flower. Life's not so bad after all. And you'll feel present. You won't be concerned with what's happening on Instagram. You won't be obsessed with what's going on in Saint-Tropez. You won't have FOMO. None of that. You'll just be like, wow, a flower. Happens sometimes. God gives you a freebie. You didn't earn it. You didn't struggle. You didn't take any risk. God gave you a freebie. And those are the true blessings. But let me tell you something. If you keep walking down that country lane, eventually, no flower is going to impress you, because hedonistic adaptation is a bitch. But let me tell you, the freebies that never, ever fail to make you feel conscious and present, and that hedonistic adaptation cannot affect. Let me tell you the freebies given by the universe that make you feel alive and present and conscious, so that you're awake, so that you escape from the perma-haze of apathy, so you're no longer concerned about all this bullshit and you're focused on the here and now, right now. The freebies that come from the universe, that you don't have to earn, that you don't have to struggle, you don't have to risk, and that hedonistic adaptation cannot affect. You know what they are? They're all the bad shit that happens. I mean, what is good and bad? It's all subjective, right? Good and bad is subjective. Put that to the side for now. Stop operating within these parameters, this mental prison of good and bad. Throw away good and bad. Just think of conscious and unconscious. Just think of awake and daydream. You spend most of your life in a daydream, that is to failure. And to win, you need to spend your life awake.
Why I think I fight. Do I enjoy it? No. Do I enjoy training? No. Do I enjoy cutting weight? No. Am I nervous? Yes. Do I think to myself, what am I doing? Yes. Completely. Unfortunately, it's one of those things you're either born with or you're not. And the only way I can explain it, to try and make it make any sense, is that if I'm not doing something which is either extremely difficult or extremely stressful, I'm in a perpetual state of crippling boredom. I can't explain it. I see other people live their lives and they're like, oh, I can't wait for the weekend because I want to watch this movie. I think, who cares about a movie? You're looking forward to the weekend for a movie? Looking forward to the weekend to get drunk? Like, these things to me are so mundane. They mean nothing. And if I don't fight, if I'm not in a situation where I'm stressed or worried or concerned, I'm just perpetually bored. And boredom's crippling. If you're an intelligent person and you've got a good brain on your shoulders, you can't just sit there bored. So most smart people take the academic route to avoid boredom, and they learn, but that's never really interested me either. Although I've always been an intelligent guy and I've always done well academically, it never really interested me. And then I see people climb Mount Everest or jump off buildings or do base jumping, or the guy who jumped from space. People think, what's he doing? He's crazy. I understand, because some people can't live normal lives. Some people cannot just function 9 to 5 office job, get drunk at the weekends. That is not for some individuals, and it's not for me. So I have to find something which keeps me physically tired enough to stop me going AWOL, and mentally tired enough, and I've chosen fighting, because without this, when I'm not in training, I wake up every day and think, okay, what am I gonna do today? It's 9 a.m. on a Tuesday, I'm bored, everyone's at work, I'm bored, and I'll end up doing something crazy. I'll either end up drunk. It's just a random lifestyle, because I'm constantly looking for never-ending entertainment, and it doesn't exist. I think the only thing that could stop me fighting is if I had enough money to constantly entertain myself. Unless I'm a billionaire, I need something that keeps me focused and keeps me occupied in life. With fighting, I have to train twice a day, and I have to train hard, and the stress it brings in every aspect can replace fun, and my mind is occupied.
And I think that is the easiest way to always self-motivate yourself. That if you ever feel tired or exhausted, or you're trying something and it ain't quite working, or you're trying to make money and you can't seem to work it out, or you're trying to get views and the views don't come, and you feel like, oh, this is so tiring, or I want to quit, or I want to give up, just know the second you start winning, you're going to have unlimited energy to just win forever. There's no such thing as lazy. There's just people who feel demotivated as opposed to lazy. You can take any person, you can take the laziest guy, go home right now, find a guy who sits at home all day and plays video games and smokes weed and say, look, here's how you make $1 million. Here's exactly what you do. But here's a puzzle. Every time you complete the puzzle, I give you $100,000. He'll stop being lazy because he knows exactly what to do. Once he starts winning, he'll be up all night doing puzzles, getting that money. But because he hasn't been given a very simple, clear path to the money, he can't work out how to do it, and he's too lazy to work out how to do it, so he doesn't want to do it. So you're never tired when you're winning. Whenever I feel a little bit demotivated, or a little bit tired, or a little bit under the thumb, or I feel like there's too much going on, or I'm stressed, I just go, you know what? Once this pulls off, I know I'm going to have unlimited energy energy to push it to the end. And I think that's the best way to look at it. And another reason you should keep this in mind, you're never tired when you're winning, is you need to keep in mind that your enemy, if they're beating you, are never going to give up. They're never going to quit. They're never going to get tired. They're never going to get exhausted. As soon as your enemy feels like they're winning over you, they're never going to stop. This idea that you can show weakness and vulnerability to your enemy and they won't want to kill you, I think is one of the biggest mistakes in the world. If someone says something negative to you and you go, that really hurt my feelings, that really affects me, they're going to keep doing it. Every man knows this is true. You need to make it very clear. You need to exhaust your enemy, and you exhaust your enemy by being a brick wall.
I think if you're a young man, just any man who's out there in the world today, you need to look at some problems that need solving, either for yourself or for society, and find a way to fix them. And I think that you should just adopt some problems and try and fix them. It doesn't matter what it is. You can just try and fix the litter in your area, or you can try and get a six-pack, or whatever you want. Men are builders. The modern world was built by men. Every building you're in was built by men. Every road you drive on was built by men. We're builders. We build things, and that's what you should be focused on. It's just the bottom line of life. And if you ask a woman the kind of man she wants, she will never say depressed or sad, ever. She wants a man who is ultra capable, ultra competent. I've literally had women say to me, you know what, I love being around you. I'm like, well, I don't have to think. I'm like, what do you mean? Because I just turn up and like, we just walk in the hotel and everyone, staff do anything we want, and the jet's just on the runway, and we just land, and I'm in this beautiful place, and I don't even know where I am, and I get to just turn my brain off, and it's great. Like, they want someone who is fun and spontaneous and charismatic and successful. They don't have time for sad dudes. They don't care. So the world doesn't care. The world has never given a shit about sad men. So if you're going to sit there and self-diagnose yourself as a sad man, you're going to have a shit life, and nobody's ever going to give a fuck, and you're going to perpetually lose forever. And that is your decision. I am so scared of being that person. The idea of that terrifies me to the point where I don't even want to accept that as a reality that could possibly exist. I don't give a shit what happens to me in my life. I don't care how bad it is. I don't care if the worst, most heinous things I could possibly imagine happen to me. I know that my sadness, my depression will be temporary, because I will never stay a loser. It is against my creed. It's not in my DNA. And then you look at the mentality of a lot of these people, and I talk about this from my perspective because I primarily talk to younger guys, and they've gotten to a point where they're just apathetic and they're just gamblers. They're like, well, I'll just gamble on crypto, or I'll gamble on the stock market. I don't stand a chance of getting out with hard work. I don't stand a chance of getting out with education. I don't stand a chance of having a woman who loves me without money. So I'm just gonna gamble on meme coins, or just gamble on the stock market. And if I lose, I'll just sit in my bedroom and play video games. I give up. They're just giving up on the system, giving up on society. They're no longer waking up saying, if I work hard and train hard and be a good person, I can build a good society.
And that's what you teach them.
And that's what I'm trying to teach them to do, because they've just given up. They just don't care anymore.
At a young age.
At a very young age, because they're seeing too much too early. And I can't even imagine myself at age 12 seeing all this. How would I end up? It's weird.
Because they're saying to themselves, I'm never going to be in that position. You know, we're spending all that kind of money and doing, so they give up.
They give up. And also not just they give up, but they sit and they think, well, that's all that matters. That's all I want. That's all that success is. I don't care about, and I try and make it very hard. That's why I always mention I was broke for the longest time. And that's when I actually became the person I am. I don't think money changes you. I think money amplifies you. I think if you're a real man and you get rich, you're a good man. So if you love your family and you love your last name and you're proud of yourself, then you have a duty to be massively, monumentally successful, to show homage to your ancestors. I find it amazing there are people out here today who are going to sit and say, oh, I'm sad, I'm too depressed, I don't want to work hard. Do you understand that only 200 years ago, there were peasants out working a field, starving, surviving the Black Death, surviving the plague, struggling to exist just to reproduce, so that 200 years later, you can be the end of their bloodline for you to sit on your ass and do fucking nothing? You're a fuck up. You're fucking up your entire bloodline of your entire ancestry. You owe these people things. They went through hell for you to exist. You have a debt. You have a duty to pay. You have to be the best possible version of yourself. And the same to God. God loves people who try. God loves people who work hard. It's amazing if you try your very best all the time, what God will give you. He'll give it to you, anything you want, if you actually try. One of the most terrifying but also gratifying things of life as a man is that we're all born relatively valueless. I don't think women are born that way. A woman, if she's born, especially if she's attractive, has an innate value. People just want her no matter what. But as a man, if you're not an important man, nobody gives a fuck about you, and they're never going to care. So you have to build yourself from the ground up, and that's scary for a lot of people, but it's also a massive opportunity. You can decide if you want to be a famous musician, or a nice sensitive poet, or a painter, or a kickboxer boxing world champion or a businessman. You get to decide on all the different characters in the video game. You can choose, who do I want to be? And then if you actually try, you can become it. Isn't that amazing? You can wake up and go, you know what? I want to be this kind of guy. I knew who I wanted to be. I wanted to be the dude pulling up in the Lambo, 3 a.m, gets out. Everyone's like, who is this big, strong, rich dude? I wanted to be that man, so I became him. And if you don't want that, if you want to go be a musician and play guitar and get a bunch of chicks and chill in Bali and smoke weed, whatever, go, you can choose your character and build it. So the number one factor that's going to decide how successful you are as a person is your ability to absorb stress, your stress level. The better you are at dealing with stress, the more problems you can fix, the more money you're going to make. So you have to decide where on that scale, because you could just be homeless and have no stress. You could just,
exactly.
You could be a brokey and be on the dole and just, I'm broke, but nothing really troubles me. So you have to decide on that level where you want, how much stress you can possibly absorb as a man. And then if you truly want that level, you're going to get it. I believe any man can make anything they want, depending. Any one of you here, I have no idea how much money you're making, but if you were to say, you know what, I'm throwing away my relationship, I'm throwing away my social life, and I'm going ham, I'm going nuts, and I don't care what they do to me, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna make it. You'd make a bunch of money, but there's a bunch of garbage that comes with it. So you have to decide, right? So I think it's a conscious decision. Anybody can be as rich as they want to be. That's the true thing about it.